my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things, and today I am giving you my July TBR. This is a big one. It feels like it's a big one just because of the books that I've picked specifically for video reread purposes, but they are my favorite books in the whole wide world, so we will talk about them in just a second. Anyway. Yeah, I'm excited about this month's TBR, like a lot, actually. But let's go ahead and talk about series continuations first, which I don't give the summary of because you don't need the summary of them. But first we have Tricks for Free by Shauna Maguire. This is the next book in the Encrypted series. It is book 7 in the 13-book series. I believe it's 13? Could be wrong. I'm trying to read about one a month, which basically I'm 7 months into the year. I'm on book 7. Makes sense, right? Like I said, it is the Encrypted series and it is 7 books in, so reading the summary could probably spoil some things, so I'm not going to do that. Then I have Scrivener's Bones by Brandon Sanderson. This is a middle grade book in the Evil Librarians series. I really enjoyed the first one a lot, so I'm excited to continue reading about Alcatraz's adventures in fighting evil librarians as they continue to try to thwart history and just change things. I don't know. It's a silly middle grade book and I've really enjoyed the first one, so here we are. Then we have the part I'm most excited about. So for a YouTube video that I'm planning, I'm going to be rereading the Up and Under series and the Alchemical Journey series by Shauna Maguire and A. Deborah Baker, which is Shauna Maguire. These books are genuinely my all-time favorite books in the whole wide world. These books make me remember why I love reading. So first we have the Up and Under series, which is the middle grade series. It is, why do I have these in the weirdest order? And by that I mean not the correct order. So first up we have Over the Woodward Wall, again by quote A. Deborah Baker. I also spent a while defacing a lot of books, of these books, and I'm really pleased with that. So like even the edges are highlighted in a really special way. And this book is in here upside down for some reason. Over the Woodward Wall is about Avery and Zib, who are two kids that live on the same street, and they kind of stumble into this fantastical adventure on the impossible road. Strange creatures, fun adventures, odd things, and the middle grade series consists of Over the Woodward Wall, Along the Saltwise Sea, Into the Wind-Tracked Wilds, and last but not least, which one of you guys got me, and I'm really pleased about it, it works out really well for this reread, Under the Smoke-Strewn Sky, which is the most recent, and I think the last one that's come out. These covers are so pretty also, side note. I think they are gorgeous, just gorgeous, and they're also soft matte, which is, you know, pleasing. The only complaint I have is the way that Tor changed their thing, but, you know, you can't change that, so moving on. So I'll be reading these throughout, also reading the Alchemical Journeys. So my plan is to read Over the Woodward Wall and then read Middle Game, which I've read an obscene amount of times. Middle Game I also have, you know, defaced, and because it is my favorite book and I have no shame. And I plan on writing every time I reread it and putting it on the cover after post defacing. Middle Game is about Roger and Dodger, who are two lab created twins that were separated at birth, and they have, one's really good at math and one's really good at words, and it's because they're basically gods. Yay! So the plan is to read Over the Woodward Wall and then Middle Game, and then I'll read Along the Saltwise Sea and Into the Wind-Tracked Winds, and then read Seasonal Fears, which is about the seasons. If you haven't figured out, if I haven't made it clear, rather, this book is mostly like personifying. This one's in here upside down too. What was I doing? These are more about personifying elements. So the elements of math personified into an individual, the elements of language personified into an individual, the elements of the seasons personified into an individual. There is this battle to see who will be winter and who will be summer, and it turns out that one of them was lab grown and the other one was a natural summer, and they're dating, and it's Melanie and Harry, and I love them dearly, and the way that they talked about heart conditions and stuff was really special to me. As someone with a heart condition, the way that it was dealt with, the way that Harry just had so much faith in her own strength despite no one else believing in her own strength, despite her being chronically ill. I don't know, a lot of it was really touching. My husband has even confirmed that it's really touching as the caretaker, essentially, of me. Even he, like, it's not everyone's favorite, I think, because it's so much more romance-based than the first book. But yeah, I don't know. If you're with someone who's chronically ill, and specifically with a heart condition, I think that this is really touching, and my husband agrees, and he's with somebody that's chronically ill with a heart condition, so his opinion counts. Then I will be reading Under the Smokestone Sky after reading Seasonal Fears, and then I'll be reading Tidal Creatures, which I am very excited about, and I've been very patiently not reading. My friends got it as advanced reader copies, and they were like, oh, Andy, you have to request it, you have to, and I was like, no, I literally want to wait until it's out, because I know myself and I'm going to want it in audiobook form, in ebook form, in physical book form, whatever. That's the other funny thing about Seasonal Fears. When I started reading Seasonal Fears, I had it as an ebook and as an audiobook, and I was super, like, I was laying in bed with my husband, and I was like, I don't even think we were married yet, and I was just like whining basically about how I was upset because I needed to wait until I got paid to buy the physical book, because all I wanted was to read it physically. And as I'm like laying in bed being upset about this, I get a notification that I've been Apple paid, and I check, and my husband sent me money just so that I could buy the book, and it was very sweet. But Tidal Creatures is going to be the personification, I think, of just the moon, but I'm not totally sure. I haven't read it yet, but I think it's the personification of the moon, maybe of the ocean. I'm not totally sure. Like I said, I haven't read it yet, but I am nevertheless very, very excited to be reading this. I'm very excited to be reading Under the Smokestone Sky. I haven't read either of them yet. I've been kind of patiently waiting until this one came out before I would start reading Smokestone Sky, because I kind of wanted to do a whole big shebang reread. I haven't read these since 2023, which is shocking because I usually have reread them a million times. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to be reading for a video. You guys can look forward to that. It's going to be like my, I'm not going to call them 24-hour reads because that's not what I'm doing, but my like reads in a week. Reading my book series throughout, reading my favorite book series throughout a week or something. I don't know. Working title. It's a working title. Moving on to other books that I'm going to be reading that don't fall into any of the previously mentioned categories. We have The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is something that's kind of been floating around on my TBR for a hot minute. Luisa Catato uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Lucia? I don't know. Use those gifts to better the family's social position. What begins as a simple amusement for the bored nobility takes a perilous turn when Lucia garners the notice of Antonio Perez, the disgraced secretary to Spain's king. Still reeling from the defeat of his armada, the king is desperate for any advantage in the war against England's heretic queen, and Perez will stop at nothing to regain the king's favor. Determined to seize this one chance to better her fortunes, Lucia plunges into a world of seers and alchemists, holy men and hucksters, where the line between magic, science, and fraud is never certain. But as her notoriety grows, so does the danger that her Jewish blood will doom her to the Inquisition's wrath. She will have to use every bit of her wit and will to survive, even if it means enlisting the help of Gulian Santangel? I don't know. An embittered immortal familiar whose own secrets could prove deadly for them both. Interesting. Next we have Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. Jennifer Saint writes generally Greek retellings, and this is another one of those. When Princess Atalanta is born, a daughter rather than a son her parents hoped for, she is left on a mountainside to die, but even then she is a survivor. Raised by a mother bear under the protective eye of the goddess Artemis, Atalanta grows up wild and free, with just one condition. If she marries, Artemis warns, it will be her undoing. Can Atalanta carve out her own legendary place in a world of men while staying true to her heart? I don't know, we'll see. Then we have Blaze Wrath Games by Amparo Ortiz. This is something that's also been on my TBR for quite a long time. So, in a few weeks, 16 countries will compete in the Blaze Wrath World Cup, a tournament where dragons and riders fight for glory in a dangerous relay. Lana longs to represent her native Puerto Rico in their first ever World Cup reappearance, and when Puerto Rico's runner, the only player without a dragon steed, is kicked off the team, she's given the chance. But when she discovers that a former Blaze Wrath superstar has teamed up with the Sire, a legendary dragon who's cursed into human form, the safety of the cup is jeopardized. All Lana wanted was to represent her country. Now, to do that, she'll have to navigate an international conspiracy that's deadlier than her beloved sport. We love dragons. Next we have 2 books that I got in the queer book box that I got last month from Random House. Thank you, Random House. The first one we have is Horse Barbie, which is a nonfiction book from Gina Rosero, which is, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a horror book because of but it's not, it's a nonfiction book. It is about Gina Rosero, who was the Philippines' highest earning trans pageant queen. When her competitors mocked her as, quote, Horse Barbie due to her statuesque physique, tumbling hair, long neck, and dark skin, she leaned in the epitaph. A year later, Gina moved to the United States where she could change her name and gender marker on her documents, but where she also had to go stealth and hide her trans identity, gaining one type of freedom at the expense of another. While she achieved success as a model, her sense of self eroded. The high-stakes double life finally forced Gina to ask herself if she wanted to reclaim the power of Horse Barbie once and for all, radiant, head held high, and unabashedly herself. It seems interesting, and I need a nonfiction book for the month. Then we have A Sweet Sting of Salt by Rose Sutherland. This is a Selkie wife retelling. When a sharp cry wakes Jean up in the middle of the night during a terrible tempest, she's convinced it must have been a dream. But when the cry comes again, Jean ventures outside and is shocked by what she discovers. A young woman in labor, drenched to the bone in the bitter cold and able to speak barely a word of English. Although Jean is the only midwife for miles around, she's at a loss to who this woman is or where she's from. Jean can only assume that she must be the new wife of the neighbor up the road, Tobias. When Tobias does indeed arrive at her cabin in search of his wife, Miriam, Jean's questions continue to multiply. Why has he kept his wife's pregnancy a secret, and why does Miriam's open demeanor change completely the moment she's in his presence? Though Jean learned long ago that she should stay out of other people's business, her growing concern and growing feelings for Miriam mean that she can't simply set her worries aside. It seems really, really interesting. And then we have one last book. And last but not least, we have kind of a surprise, and I know this is a little bit of a controversial book at the moment, but mostly, yeah. I'm going to be reading The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, which was the first in the Bridgerton books. I watched the show, and I really enjoyed it, and so now I want to read the book. The first book is about Daphne Bridgerton and her romance with Simon Bassett, the Duke of Hastings. It is a fake marriage, fake courtship situation because neither one of them is really ready to fall in love, and then they end up falling in love, obviously. So that is the gist of that book. I'm excited about it regardless. I know it's cheesy, but I'm still excited about it. That's it though. That is my TBR for July. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a really good month. I think that I'm going to enjoy my reads a lot. I'm hopeful anyway, and I know that these rereads are going to be fantastic. So there's that. That's everything. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, if you have opinions about any of them. Have you read Shauna McGuire's Alchemical Journeys books? Those are my favorite. If you haven't, you should probably read them. Let me know also if you've read some of these books and you didn't enjoy them. Whatever. Whatever. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. If you didn't enjoy this video, I'm sorry. I'll try to do better, I guess. I don't know, question mark. I post videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, except for the first full week of the month. So I will see you guys on Thursday. Don't forget to take your meds, drink your water, and do something today to take care of yourselves. Okay, thanks. Bye.